Navy at North Texas, noon Eastern time on ESPN2. Very consequential game in the American Conference and by proxy, the college football playoff. Like I said, time and time again, the champion of the American Conference is most likely going to be the Group of Six's representative in the college football playoff this year. The top 4 favorites to make the playoff out of the Group of 6 are from the American Conference, according to DraftKings Sportsbook. North Texas is 4th in those odds right now, while Navy isn't far behind as is tied for 6th in odds right now. And the Midshipmen are currently the only Group of 6 team that still has an undefeated record with a perfect 7-0 record so far this year.
Well, Navy's especially got an interesting situation because even if you chalk up, maybe if we're probably going to preview it too, but they've got all these tough games. This is the first of 4 straight games. Their final 4 games are North Texas, Notre Dame, USF, Memphis. Yeah. I mean, those are games that
we're going to find out soon.
We're going to find out about Navy starting this week, right? And they've got an interesting situation because let's say they run the table in conference and they make the conference title game, and the one loss is Notre Dame, and then they win the American. I mean, you're talking about an 11-1 Navy team before they've played Army, which is also an interesting situation considering the playoff. Before they've played Army, but they'd be 11-1 with a conference title. They would still be the playoff team, and imagine having an academy school as one of the playoff teams. That would be something. And then for North Texas, this game to me is their season. Yeah, it's their entire season. If their 2 losses in conference are to USF and Navy, first of all, you might not get a 2-loss team in the conference title game, and then they don't have any other ground to make up when it comes to a head-to-head against Memphis or Tulane. They've got more winnable games beyond this. If they win this one, they could finish 11-1 and see maybe where the tiebreakers or certain things take them, especially with the loss to USF. But this is basically the game of North Texas season as well. So I think you've got the start of a tough stretch for Navy, and then this being basically just everything for the Mean Green. This is going to be a fun one.
It would be a fascinating conversation if Navy, say, wins the Alpes, has a Notre Dame game, and then wins the American, and then still has a game afterwards against Army. But the playoff is announced the week before that Army game too, so it's like it'd be a little bit weird. I think they'll still get in 11-1.
Oh no, if they won this conference, ran the table, and their only loss was Notre Dame, they would absolutely be.
What if they're 10-2?
That's a better discussion.
What would the playoff do then? That's a very interesting conversation.
That's a better discussion because and look, that other loss would be to another really good team because their last 3 conference games again are North Texas, USF, Memphis.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is if they lose one of those conference games and lose a tiebreaker to one of those teams, they may not even be in the conference title game anyway. So it is a fascinating discussion. I just don't know. There's a lot of the top of this American race that could come down to tiebreakers, and that's going to get real complicated later on. But in the case of Navy, a lot of those are going to be head-to-head with these big games coming down the stretch.
Yeah. All right, so Dalton, you have the North Texas offense in this one. What should you know for them against Midshipmen?
I think the biggest thing to know with North Texas young quarterback Drew Messmaker is that he's going to be seeing a lot of pressure in this game. Navy's not great in coverage, but they blitz a lot. In fact, they blitz at the 5th highest rate in college football. And you look at the difference in Messmaker's numbers when he's blitzed versus against a standard rush, 89.7 passing grade against the standard rush. That's one of the best marks in the country. 11 big-time throws, two turnover-worthy plays. Against the blitz, that passing grade goes down to 71.7 with 5 big-time throws and 6 turnover-worthy plays. How often can Navy keep North Texas in obvious passing situations so they can keep sending pressure? Because it's a small sample, but there's a little bit of evidence that Messmaker will rush into decisions when he is pressured, and Navy is going to continue to send pressure because they don't love their ability to win one-on-one on the back end with a standard rush. Again, a top 5 blitz rate in college football this season from the Midshipmen. I think if North Texas is in a lot of obvious passing situations, it's going to be really incumbent upon their offensive line and on Messmaker to make good decisions against the blitz. To me, that's a huge factor here. Can they stay ahead of the chains, first and foremost, with the run game? And if not, then you get all those pressure packages from Navy.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Navy offense, and of course, I'm looking at Navy's complex run game against North Texas's run defense right now. So every cadet at a service academy must do 2 things. 1, you got to serve in the military for 5 years after graduation. And number 2, you have to run the absolute piss out of the football. Right now, the 3 schools that lead the FBS in run rate this year are the three service academies in Army, Navy, and Air Force. Navy runs the ball at 73.5% clip this year. That is the second highest rate in the country, only behind Army. And they do so in a variety of ways as well. If you watch the tape on Navy's run game, they throw a lot at you, and our numbers back it up too. Navy runs power 18% of the time, pull lead 17% of the time, counter 15%, fullback run 10%, outside zone 9%. Basically every concept that we have, they run it. So it's not like it's a very heavy triple option team or a very heavy outside zone team like we have for other schools. This is an offense that throws a lot at you in the run game right now. North Texas can't predict what Navy will throw at them schematically, but they can predict they should see a lot of quarterback Blake Horvath on the ground in this one. Blake Horvath has 806 rushing yards this year, the most among all quarterbacks in the country, the most rushing touchdowns among all quarterbacks in the country as well. And it's not as if North Texas could just stack the box on Blake Horvath like you can do for most other Service Academy quarterbacks, because he has an 83 passing grade this year, which is 16th in the country, with 7 big-time throws and 2 turnover-worthy plays. So, yeah, they will run the ball most often, but if you do stack the box, Horvath is capable of making some big-time throws down the field as well. Right now, the Mean Green are 100th in yards per attempt allowed this year at 5.2, but one advantage North Texas might have in this run defense versus run game matchup is they have an outstanding linebacker unit. All three of the Mean Green starting 3 linebackers have at least a 77 run defense grade this year. Those 3 will be very, very critical in this game against Navy's complex run schemes.
So many storylines in everything that you just said there, because you have 4 legitimate rushers in Horvath, the quarterback, Alex Texas, usually back there as the fullback, and then you've got Brandon Chapman, and Eli Heidenreich is the do-it-all guy in this offense. He's one of the best receiving backs in the country. He just does everything for this team, and when they need a big play in the passing game, it is Eli Heidenreich. North Texas, you mentioned, one of the best tackling teams in the country. That's something that really sticks out, but in their one loss, they really struggled to stop the run against USF. That was a big problem. So can they recover in time and not let Navy control this game? Because North Texas, again, on their offense, they want to get fast pace and make big plays down the field. But if you don't have the football, then that's not going to work. And I love that you mentioned too with Navy's scheme. We talked about this a little bit last year. It is not just constant triple option every single play like it used to be. There are a variety of concepts that go into this offense. They get in the shotgun and run even some more traditional run concepts that we see from a lot of other teams. But 4 legitimate threats, and you really have to watch out for Heidenreich through the air. He's the guy that they're always sneaking downfield for big plays.
And so much motion, too, when I was watching Navy. There's
Absolutely.
so much motion.
Constant.
Constant motion in that offense. But like I mentioned before, North Texas, their linebackers in Ethan Waslowski, Trey Fields, and Shane Witter, all 3 of them have at least a 77 run defense grade. With a complex run scheme like Navy has, those linebackers will be critical for North Texas in this game. All right, Dalton. Ultimately, in what is a massive, massive game for the American Conference and also the Group of 6 playoff race, who wins between North Texas and Navy?
I actually think this might be the hardest game of the entire week to pick. I think it's very much a coin flip with such a contrast in styles with North Texas and the way they like to win through the air, and Navy, obviously, with the ground game. The one number that sticks in my head, though, they give up 324 rushing yards, North Texas did, to USF. They've got to figure out against this Navy rushing attack how to not let them control time of possession. And then again, the pass concepts with Heidenreich and those guys, those stack up beyond that once they start having success on the ground. And then this is a big inflection point, I think, for Blake Horvath as well, because last year, first half of the year, he got off to a red-hot start throwing the football, and then they hit the Notre Dame game, and the passing game really petered out. Can they sustain that and make this offense two-dimensional for the entirety of the season? That's how they're going to compete in this conference. I think it's going to be very high scoring, and again, a contrast of styles. It's going to be very back and forth, and the fact that it's at North Texas helps North Texas too. But I'm going to take the midshipmen 42-35.
Okay.
I'm going to take their run game just like USF did against North Texas. I'm going to take their run game to control it, get ahead early, control time of possession. But I do think you're going to get a lot of points in this game.
I think it will be a shootout. I have North Texas winning that shootout, though. I have it 37-30, North Texas beating Navy Ultimately, I think North Texas' balanced offense with Drew Messmaker at quarterback and our guy Caleb Hawkins at running back has been great for them this year as a true freshman. That'll be too much for the midshipmen to handle defensively. I think North Texas at home will deliver Navy their first loss of the year and set up North Texas very nicely in the American Conference right now as well. Should be an awesome, awesome game in the American Conference at noon, though.